1. Hey guys, we just got done reviewing a bunch of shows over there at our other other show this week. I got all confused.
Somewhere.
So we too much shows on the mind. So we reviewed a couple episodes of Severance season 2, a couple episodes of the new Spider-Man show, which I forget was Your Neighborhood Friendly Spider-Man. I don't know. I can't remember what it's called. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. And then a few episodes of Solo Leveling. So go check out that review. It's easier to watch than for me to say. So there's been a lot of talk about Amelia Perez in the Oscar nomination. So there should be an institution that kind of protects us from that. And we've had it over the years. It's called the Golden Raspberries. So they're supposed to nominate the worst movies for us. So what the question is, where are they? Why aren't they protecting us from Amelia Perez? So let's check out what actually the Golden Raspberries are doing this year. So worst pictures, we got Borderlands.
I forgot about that one.
Joker Filet Noir. So they promised me I never had to say that again, but I did. Madam Web, Megapolis, and Reagan are the worst picture nominees. So
one, why is Joker on there? That's ridiculous. And then why did you put Reagan on there?
I don't know.
Hollywood doesn't like Reagan.
I know.
Yeah, it's a political thing. Okay, worst actor, Jack Black for Dear Santa. Zachary Levi and Harold in the Purple Crayon. Joaquin Phoenix for the Joker. Dennis Quaid as Reagan. Jerry Seinfeld in Unfrosted. I like that Unfrosted movie. Worst director, S.J. Clarkson, Madam Web. Francis Ford Coppola. He needs one for Megalopolis, man. He deserves one. Todd Phillips, Joker Folie Edouard. Eli Roth. He did Borderlands, if you didn't know that. Jerry Seinfeld actually directed Unfrosted. I bet if you give him the award, he would actually show up. But worst actress, Cate Blanchett in Borderlands, so the casting no one could figure out. Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. Bryce Dallas Howard in Argyle, man, that was a terrible movie. Dakota Johnson, Madam Web. Jennifer Lopez in Atlas, that mech movie that we all forgot about.
Did these people watch Rebel Moon? Have they heard of Rebel Moon? Where is Rebel Moon?
Where is Rebel Moon? So I will show you where it is. Worst remake, ripoff, or sequel.
First, hold on. There's one thing we have to go scrub a little bit. Because they put worst supporting actor Shia LaBeouf in Megalopolis. He was like the best part of that movie. It was so funny.
So is John Voight.
I very much enjoyed it. Oh, he was amazing. John Voight with his little crossbow.
You guys are just giddy on Megalopolis.
I really need to rewatch that movie because
oh my goodness.
I think I enjoyed it way more than I did.
It was a movie.
It was a movie. So we got worst screen combo, Jack Black and anyone in the Borderlands movie. Any two characters in Unfrosted, the entire cast of Megalopolis. Joaquin and Lady Gaga, Dennis Quaid and Penelope Ann Miller. Okay, here you go, Michael. Here's what you've been waiting for. Worst remake, ripoff, or sequel. The Crow, Joker, Kraven the Hunter, Mufasa the Lion King, Rebel Moon 2, The Scargiver. So there you go.
What is this nonsense
Michael?
I'm looking at right now? This is all nonsense.
You know what this is? This is
no one's trying this year.
Yeah, this is very lazy. It's like we didn't want to watch these movies, so we kind of know what are the worst movies.
People complained about that. Let me throw them in there.
Yeah, we're just gonna put whatever we think, so we don't have to actually watch these movies. So
this is ridiculous.
Yeah, kind of failing us, Golden Raspberries. You've been around since the 80s. It was 1980 was the first one, so
someone got
you shouldn't. You should know better, man. You're supposed to be here to protect us and make us laugh.
You were the hero we needed.
You were the
chosen one.
I'm disappointed.
What'd you say, Jared?
Who won that first Razzie?
Just
He's looking.
Jesus.
How dare you?
I didn't know it's such a bad thing to ask.
I can't remember the name. I think
Get
it's a
out, Jers.
musical. It was a comedy or something. Can't Stop the Music.
Hmm.
I don't know. I've never seen it.
Really,
Never heard of it.
Cruising is on there? That's hilarious.
Cruising's on there. Friday the 13th. What? That's a good movie, man.
What is Raise the Titanic? Like the sequel of like
Have you
Zombie
never seen
Titanic
that?
comes back? Never
It's,
heard
That's
of it.
weird.
It's what's his name's best dream?
James Cameron.
Yeah, James
I want to
Cameron.
watch Raise the Titanic.
Mommy Dearest was in there. Heaven's Gate.
Which
Tarzan the Ape Man. Annie.
Cannonball Run 2.
Jaws 3D. Rambo First Blood Part 2.
Dang.
Dang. Rocky 4? What? What happened in 1985 to these
Man.
people? Howard the Duck.
Run by some commies or what?
I
Jaws
guess so.
Revenge. How many
The
Jaws
Final
movies are there?
Frontier.
The well, that was
Well, yeah, that's his
Karate Kid Part 3. Roadhouse. What? Roadhouse is great. Let's see what's in the 90s.
Hudson Hawk.
Rocky 5. Man, they hate the Rocky series.
Yeah.
Stallone is like the most nominated actor at the Razzies.
5 is pretty bad.
I was gonna say, isn't that the actual bad one?
Yeah. The Bodyguard.
Really, Showgirls.
Cliffhanger. There he is again.
Cliff.
And-
How dare they? Congo and Waterworld? How dare they?
Postman, Batman and Robin, Speed 2, Cruise Control
Oh,
lost.
dang.
How did it lose?
Wild Wild
Anaconda.
West? What? Hey, Blair,
Anaconda is coming back, guys.
they nominated
Oh, boy.
Blair Witch Project for worst movie.
What?
And Star Wars Episode 1.
Episode 1. Are
they
That's a
high?
little goofy.
I would guess yes, Jared. Battlefield Earth is pretty terrible.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I thought that said-
Driven's a good movie.
I thought that said Spirited Away. I was like, what the?
I've never seen Driven.
That's with Sylvester Stallone. Who's the, there's someone else in that. I don't know. We watched that. We had that on DVD. We watched that probably 15 times.
I have never heard of that movie.
I like it's a Formula One movie. It might be trash. I was a kid when I watched it, but I enjoyed it very much.
You gotta watch it again. We need a subject. Movies we watched as a kid that are probably trash. Crossroads, isn't that the Britney Spears movie?
Yeah.
Pinocchio, Geely, Cat in the Hat. What?
Dang.
Ahead of its time.
It was.
Catwoman, White Chicks. People love White Chicks, man.
Basic Instinct 2.
Son of Mask.
Son of the Mask. Oh, God.
Blood Rain. Remember Blood Rain was a thing?
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Daddy
The Wicker
Day
Man.
Camp.
Daddy
Daddy Day Camp.
Norbit. The Love Guru. The Happening.
Love Guru is such a stupid movie.
That was pretty bad.
Revenge of the Fallen. Pretty bad.
Yeesh.
The Last Airbender, that was peak
Okay.
cinema.
Revenge of the
God.
Fallen is bad, but it is not as bad as G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra.
Is that the
movie is
first or
terrible.
second one?
The
First
first
one.
I actually like that movie.
Oh!
I don't know G.I. Joe, though, so I just watched it as a movie.
Last Airbender.
Jack and Jill.
Jack and Jill.
Vampires suck. What on earth is
That's
vampires
the-
suck?
Parody
That's the
film
parody
of Twilight.
film.
Yeah. Battleship. My dad watches Battleship all the time when it was on TV. Movie 43.
Jesus, that
Lone
movie's weird.
Ranger.
Grown-ups
Saving
too.
Christmas. Grown Ups
50
2.
Shades.
Is a tie.
Fantastic Four.
Oof.
That one's
Yeah.
terrible. Good.
Yeah, oof. Never watched it.
Dawn of Justice. Batman versus Superman.
Yeah.
Dirty
I
Zoolander.
watched the Emoji Movie, and it's not as terrible as everyone says.
Really?
Okay.
It's not good.
I
But
watched
it's not as bad.
Gods of Egypt, and that's actually a pretty cool, all right movie.
There's a good
Tom
movie in there
Cruise is
somewhere,
the Mummy.
Joseph.
Terrible. Holmes
No.
and Watson. Oh, I forgot
Oh,
about
yeah,
yeah,
that.
I heard that was horrible.
Oh, Lord. Oh, look, Cats, our old friend
Cats.
Cats.
Rambo Last Blood. Doolittle.
I don't know any of these.
Space Jam, Jared, like Space Jam.
Who
right
made a
there?
movie called Karen after 2020? Oh my
It's a horror-
god.
Horror crime thriller. Disney's Pinocchio.
Oh man.
Blood and Honey.
Morbius,
Blood and Honey. Expendables 4.
Shazam. 2. Never
Shazam.
saw that.
Shazam 2 was pretty bad.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
And that's it. We need to rank these one day. See which ones are actually good.
Next time on House 6.
All right. So that was that. Just wondering why they haven't saved us from Amelia Perez. But let's get to some news. So everyone was kind of making fun of Superman's face in this trailer. I don't know if you guys saw it.
It's like Jimmy Carr right there.
So yeah, they kind of used that shot that they did in Guardians of the Galaxy, which makes sense because it's James Gunn that they did for Adam Warlock. Bucky. So actually, let me get my note out. So this guy
Bucky's.
from Alabama, I think it was. Or where's my notes? Escaped Alabama inmate captured at a Texas Buc-ee's. So,
Dang.
guys, if you escape prison, where is the first place you're visiting? Is it Buc-ee's?
He probably escaped prison. He's like, what is this megalopolis?
He's like, I've heard of this.
How long was I in there?
This gas station's huge. So, Jared, if you escape prison, where's the first place you're
First
headed
place
to?
I'd go?
Yeah.
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Bucky's isn't bad because, like, I doubt the prison bathrooms are that nice, and so like going there, it's probably like heaven on earth. Like, I got to take a poo in this ginormous room.
He was in there. He's like, it was a
Pure
gas
bliss.
station. I was expecting trash, but it was immaculate.
I couldn't leave.
All right, moving on. Star Wars Outlaws. The Ubisoft closes the Outlaws studio. We're gonna get a lot of closures in this. So BioWare closed a bunch of stuff, laid off a bunch of people. Basically, there's around 80 people working left at BioWare, all working on Mass Effect. So is that a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I don't know.
Well,
I mean,
supposedly most of the people that worked on Dragon Age are gone.
Yeah.
but I mean, like, what a depressing way to like continue on with the game is like, oh, all of your friends, everyone you worked with is gone. And you know, if you screw up, you're going to be gone because this company is bleeding.
Not only are you going to be gone, but the franchise that you worked on is going to be gone.
Yeah, that's
So-
somebody.
Thomas mentioned Dragon Age. So what happens when you pretty much sync BioWare as the game director of Dragon Age? You get hired to make the new D&D game from Wizards of the Coast. So that is moving on up, guys. I don't know if you've seen all the stuff that's been going on with Wizards of the Coast, but now the orcs, they're like Mexicans. They have like this artwork, and they've turned them into Mexicans. So,
It's
and
weird.
they're not mean. They're nice guys. They're kind of like immigrants, just working their way across the D&D landscape.
The heck?
It's
They're the workforce of the D&D realm. It's like, oh, that's
Yeah.
not insulting at all.
They've turned like everything that references monsters is gone. They're just like heavenly beings or something like that. So nothing's bad anymore in the D&D world. Everything is
Sounds
just
miserable.
sunshine and rainbows. Rumor was the Blade movie is dead. It's
Not
just
surprising.
a rumor, but it's not surprising at all. So Nerdrotic, he's been hinting at some information he had for a long time, like all last year. And he may have slipped. I don't know if this is what he meant to say, but he mentioned that the next Spider-Man movie is going to be Spider-Man versus Punisher versus the Hulk. So
Why are they trying to shoehorn Hulk in everything?
I know. Well, this is supposed to be Return of the Savage Hulk, not the nerdy Hulk that we had for a few years. So,
Mark Ruffalo Hulk.
Can we just get
Yeah.
a new Mark Ruffalo?
they need to recast him.
Can it be Edward Norton again? I was happy with
Oh,
that.
I miss Edward Norton.
I liked Edward Norton as Bruce Banner.
Perfect casting right there.
Honestly, yes. I loved Eric Bana, but the thing is, he's too cool. He's too cool.
He's too cool to be. Hulk.
He's like, I'm a nerd. It's like, no, you're not. You're too awesome.
I was thinking about casting today. What do you guys feel about Harrison Ford as like old Bruce Wayne in a Batman Beyond movie?
Be cool.
Yeah,
Not bad. I mean, I kind of wish they got Michael Keaton to be like old Bruce instead of, whatever the hell that was in the Flash.
Yeah, he would be
Oh
cool,
God, that movie.
I don't know how we never got a Batman Beyond movie. It's so baffling.
Joke, man.
Supposedly the Lord guys from Spider-Man had a concept for a Batman Beyond movie. So
it would have been animated, yeah. Lastly, I have trading came to Pokemon Pocket and everyone hated it. So they are looking to change it because people were not too happy with the trading mechanic. It's costs so much, man. You got to give up a lot of cards to trade.
are we done?
Yep, that's all we have
Thank
for the
God.
news. And then we'll go into our homework.
Covering your Oh, never mind.
Don't ask questions, Jared.
Don't ask questions. He's over there playing Pokemon right now.
He's like phone saying incompatible.
He's like, I need the trade. All right, so let's go into our homeworks. Who wants to start? Who had like a big list? Anyone?
No.
It's that time of year.
I have a lot to talk about the things that I did, but I only have like 3.
I have a big list. I can go through.
Okay, Jared's the guy with the big list this time.
Okay, real fast. Sorry, my mouse isn't working. I had to look something up. YouTube. I watched a guy named Joseph Fisher. He did a video on Wallace and Gromit, just going through the whole history of it and all the films. Great video. I loved his humor. I loved the video. It was awesome. I subscribed. And then. So I've been watching a lot. Like last time, I was talking about watching a lot of like Tool song rankings, album rankings, and stuff like that. You guys probably aren't familiar with Joey
Fatone. Sorry,
Bazinger, or however you say his last name. The Anime Man.
No,
the Anime Man.
He has a podcast with Geigic. He did a Tool ranking video, and it was the worst ranking video I've ever seen. I like the Anime Man, but that was terrible. You need to up your game on that, dude.
What was so bad about it?
He didn't. At first, he said, "I'm gonna go song by song," and then he went album by album, and then
he lied.
He just had the same
It wasn't
takes
even
as
Tool.
everyone else. He had the same exact takes as everyone else. I was like, what is this? Anime Man. Other than that, I just have a lot of music to talk about. First, I picked one of his songs in one of our playlists. It's an artist called Jafari. He has a new album that came out last week. It's really good. And it's called The Fear of the Unknown. Really good. I definitely recommend it. What?
That's one you sent to me, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it was good. I said it was like which you probably disagree completely, but I said if it was what did I say it was?
I don't remember.
I don't know.
I compared 2 bands because it sounded like it reminded me of Jared and I's Nice conversation. No, guess again. I said if the Fonts and Gorillas had a baby.
Dang, that would be cool.
It has like the lyric kind of section kind of reminded me of Gorillas. It's it has kind of like a repetitive nature to it intentionally, and then the music behind it is very fonts, like that kind of electronic downplay, like do do do. You're like, so I dug it. It was good.
I sent it to Jonah because he likes 80s, like what I call vampire singing. It's very much like that kind of mood.
Vampire music.
He hasn't gone back to me, but I hope.
What was it called again?
Jafari.
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 And then I listened to Opiate from Tool, their EP. I've never listened to it before. It's a lot better than I thought going in. At first I was like, oh, it's just an EP from like their beginning. It's gonna suck. But it is honestly really good. Go ahead.
Did you listen to Opiate or the Opiate Squared?
I'm getting to the Squared, but I'm talking about Opiate first.
Okay. Well, I'm just curious because they're both EPs, so I was just curious.
He's getting to it.
Opiate Squared, I didn't like as much.
Really?
It was just kind of a throwaway song.
It's math.
I like that one.
And then I told Michael and Thomas, Memphis Mayfire had a song with Blindside, or Christian from Blindside. Awesome song. It's called Overdose. I've been running to that like crazy, and I love this song. Every time I see that he's part of something, it just warms my soul, and I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see and hear from him.
Running like Adam Scott.
Yes. No, I run. The best visual for me running is Mob from Mob Psycho, and he's just like, that's how I run. So I asked the guys in chat. Hold on, I gotta.
Luna, hey, you chucked her.
She always wants to throw things on the ground.
Oh my god!
I asked the guys, hey, what should I listen to? What bands should I listen to? Like their whole discography. I like to go through discographies. And Johnny was like, he gave me Creed or Korn. And so I chose Korn because I like some of their hits. And I've never listened to like full albums from Korn. So I was like, yeah, okay. They have I went through 14 albums.
Oh my god.
By the end of it, I am sick of Korn. But first off was their self-titled album, really good. Especially that last song, Daddy. It's really like a heavy topic, but it's just a really well done song. And then I went to the album Life is Peachy. This is the one with like Twist and like that meme song where he's just doing the like weird like scat whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There's some good songs on here, but for the most part, it's not as good as the first one. Then I went on to Follow the Leader, which is the famous one with like Freak on a Leash. Freak on a Leash is pretty much the only there's that and Got the Life. There's a few songs on here, but for the most part, terrible. There's a song with like Ice Cube, sucks. It's just like there's a lot of cringy songs on here. I didn't really like it except for the hits. So I went on to Issues. This album was weird. It was like it had a jazzy feel to it, and the way I describe it is like the Amnesiac for Korn. It's real jazzy. It's real like
it's for your pretentious friends.
Yeah. But I really like this. Is probably their best album.
That one has like a lot of I remember seeing like a ton of t-shirts for that when I was a kid.
Yeah, this is the album I always remember with the little like doll on it. Yeah. And then I went out to Untouchables. God, this was hard to listen to. Like I got 2 songs in, I was like, just end. And it was god awful. So when I went on to Take a Look in the Mirror, it was such a breath of fresh air. I was like, thank God Untouchables is over. And then we get to See You on the Other Side, the famous album art of like it's like Alice in Wonderland with the little like albino kid and like the bunny and whatever. I always remember that growing up. This album's really good. It's a lot more, I'd say their early albums are a lot more like raw and not like put together. This one's the first one that's like put together, like they're really focusing on the music, and I really enjoyed it. And then I listened to their MTV Unplugged, which is all their like just acoustic versions of their songs. This is amazing. Like I love this album. It sounds so good. And they do a cover of Creep that is really good, Joseph. They cover
You
Creep,
hate
it's real good,
covers.
Joseph.
Is it that
But they
slow
did it good.
down?
Especially slow down.
They kept it at the same tempo. And then we went on to Untitled. The only song I ever heard from this growing up was Evolution, which is a good song. And that's all I can remember from this album. Even listened to it like a couple days ago. A lot of the songs on this one are slow and they're trying to be like thoughtful and stuff like that. Doesn't work for them. And then I went on to Korn 3, Remember Who You Are. Another terrible album. God awful. Then I went to The Path of Totality, which is the Skrillex album, where they partnered with Skrillex and a couple other dub step bands or artists or whatever. It's not bad. It's just dubstep is not for me. You hear the wub wub, you get it. You get all the songs.
All wubbing.
Jackson loves the wub wub.
He does.
This is true.
And then I went on to Paradigm Shift. This one's okay. It has like a weird like 90s, early 2000s feel to it, which was kind of odd. Not bad. It's just very forgettable. And then my notes did not save today at work, so I
Oh shoot.
Okay, and then I went on to The Serenity of Suffering. This one is all right. A lot of the songs are good. It's well put together. It has a song with Slipknot in it, so I'm like, yes. Any Slipknot in there? I'm Corey Taylor. Yes, I'm happy. And then I went on to The Nothing. This might be their second best album after Issues. A lot of the songs are just good. It has a darker tone to it. I don't know, just something about it is like really well put together. The songs are good from start to finish because I forgot to mention throughout these albums, hit or miss, dude. Like one song could be pretty good, the other is just like embarrassing, like terribly. And then the last one was Requiem. This is one of their shorter albums, not bad. I would just say it's kind of forgettable. Nothing really stood out to me. The interesting thing about going through all these albums, besides the burnout, is that their release, they have sticking to a release where it's like they release an album 2 years later, they release an album, and then the very next year they release an album. So it's like they write enough songs for two albums, but they just put them out
separately.
Yeah, and usually it's the album or how I just said it comes out, and then there's one the following year. That following year one is always the better album. It's weird. So yeah, I went through all that, and I'm not going to listen to Korn for a while because I am burnt out. And then I might listen to Creed because that was the last suggestion.
Oh boy!
Unless someone else has a suggestion, but
maybe you'll really like Creed, and you'll just become.
They only have like 4 or 5 albums, so it won't be long.
Well, you need to go. You need to listen to it in a garage and like drink beer while you're doing it.
I need to be divorced and have like supporting 2 kids.
Did you ever listen to Coldplay's 2019 album?
Is that the one with BTS?
I don't know song names. Give me a second.
Is it like Korn?
That's a collaboration with a Korean band, yeah.
No, this is the one that you and Jonah, we were talking about it, and you guys were like, I've never heard of this album. It's very different sounding from like what they're, like Milo Zettelito and all that, like Korean kind of sounding stuff. So I was curious if you ever actually listened to it. It's such a good album, dude.
The 2019 one?
Yes.
What'd you say?
2019. So it's
Everyday Life.
Everyday Life, dude. It's so good. It's so good. I love it so much.
That'd be interesting going from like Viva La Vida, because I think that's where I stopped and going on. So that's all for me this week.
Who's next? We go next? I'll go next.
Go next. Thomas is
He's taking his eyeballs out. Piggybacking off Jared's music, I did listen to the new Weekend album today. Listen to it twice.
There's a new album?
Yeah, it's very long. It's like 20-something songs. And it's
guys, we're very close to the new playlist, so I'm glad you guys are finding new stuff.
I do actually. The one song on the, like, most of them are very much like The Weeknd. Like it's just going to sound like The Weeknd, like a bunch of techno-y kind of dribble and then blah blah blah. But there's one song called Open Heart that's probably going to be on the list because it is a good song. This started, I was like, this song is a bop and it's really good. But apart from that, the album was just fine. But that song though, Open Heart, pretty sure it's called Open Heart. Fantastic.
Real fast, Korn. They think they're rap because they have like 20 songs an album. I'm like, geez, you need 12. You don't need 20. Good Lord.
Yeah,
you can even get by with 10. It's fine.
And it's the sweet spot, man.
I was listening to, I think it was Untouchables, and I was like, Alex, this is the most repetitive band I've ever heard in my life, and I know how much you like repetitive bands. He hates that. So I was like, repetitive bands. So I was like, try this album, and he's like, I got a song and a half in, and I quit it. And I was like, Alex, that's not even trying.
Okay, I'm still mad at him. By the way, I'm still pissed off at him.
Why? Because he doesn't like your emo poetry and Tool.
Okay, Joseph.
I'm so sorry I derailed you. Mike.
You're good. I'm sorry. I don't know why. I don't know what music made out.
Do you want to tell this what happened? Because it hurts my soul.
I can't remember. Me and Alex were talking about music for some reason. We've been recommending stuff. Oh, he just wanted a bunch of recommendations. I got him to listen to Gunship, which he's really enjoying. But then I also recommended a Tool album because I was like, have you ever listened to Tool? I think you'd like it. It's a little more musically like challenging. And so he listened to Undertow. And he was going track by track. I was like, oh, this is awesome. I love getting track by track feedback. And then he got to the one with Henry Rollins.
With Henry Rollins.
Thomas's idol. And he's like, oh, that was a good song. I just don't like that emo crap at the end. That was the Henry Rollins part. And I was like, oh, I like that.
No, he said, I don't like that emo spoken poetry bit. I'm just like,
that's one thing. Oh. If anyone talks in a song, is Alex immediately is like, nope, I'm out.
Well,
he doesn't.
The moment he said that, I was just like, cool. I guess the Chariot just doesn't need the David De La Hoy, Dan Smith portion.
Yeah,
whatever.
Alex does have his exceptions, but most of the time he's. And I'm kind of the same way. Like I hate skits and shows. I hate like I've said before, like when people like say things or like speak. I'm like rap is different because rap is way more like it is just spoken. It's not always melodic, and it's very much. But like if I'm in music world is magical. I don't want to have someone say something or like if people cry, that really pisses Alex off. If they like NF has a song where
stop crying, baby,
where he's talking about like trauma and everything like that, and then actually or his mom passing away or whatever, and there's like a part where he's kind of tearing up, and Alex is like, God, I hate that so much. He's like, I get it. But like, why would you record that? He hates it.
Crying in music or in song? I've never heard that.
There's certain people that do it. It's
there's like every Korn album, Joe. So don't. That's not even a joke. There is.
Oh no.
But it made me so mad.
Alex
mad.
had some interesting takes on the Tool, and so I was like, oh, this is cool. Sorry, my
emo poetry.
Interesting. Alex and Tool. Yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, so that's. I don't think I listened to any other music apart from that. What I did do, ladies and gentlemen, season 4 of Mythic Quest is back on Apple TV Plus. If you don't know what Mythic Quest is, it is a sitcom, drama, comedy, wonderful ball of magical goodness about a video game company starring Rob McElhenney and the guy who plays what's his face, Rickety Cricket. And just a great cast characters. The guy from freaking Abed from Thomas Help Me Out the Show, Community. He didn't help me.
Community?
He didn't help me at all.
Too late.
Sorry.
Too late.
But there's just something like the show just has like it's just A+ all around. The production's amazing, the writing's amazing, the characters amazing, and it just gets better as it goes. And like and it toes the line of like almost going too crazy. Like there's some characters you're like, you're baddie nuts. You're crazy, but they toe the line so well, and it's so funny, and it's back, and there are 2 episodes in, and I love the show so much, guys. It's just great. It took too long of a hiatus, and I was very sad, but it's back. So we're 2 episodes in that. I'll give a completion review whenever the season ends, but I'm just so happy it's back. Diving into the anime world, I did watch the first 2 episodes of season 3 of Blue Exorcist, but I'd forgotten how anime that show is. Like, it's very much in like the screaming and the big faces and all that. I'm like, I'm not in the mood for that right now.
My taste has evolved.
So you are too much.
It definitely takes a mode to get into watch that kind of anime for me. And I was like, I'm not there right now. I'm not as forgiving. So I went to that Frieren show. Frieren. It's a anime about Frieren. It apparently it's been on a bunch of lists recently that I've seen that people are like, this show has no bad episodes. It's only 28 episodes. I don't know if it's over, but I have no idea.
It was number 1 on Mel for the longest time. I don't know if it still is, but
so it's about an elf who basically the show begins with the end of her party's basically campaign. They defeated the big boss, whatever. They're all famous, whatever, and it is a massive slow burn. Like, I started just having it in the background because the first 4 or 5 episodes are just like life after that, and her. And I'm starting, now that I'm getting more into the story, I'm starting to understand the character and what they're trying to import there, because she's very much like, she doesn't want the spotlight. She doesn't like the weird showiness. It's interesting because at first I was like, oh, I'm not really into this because it's very slow. It's very much she's just visiting her friends and time is passing very quickly as they're passing away.
What do you want, Michael? You don't want the anime hyperactive? You don't want slow burn?
Well, coming off of Solo Leveling, I was like, people were like, oh, this show has no bad episode. I'm expecting like guns blazing. This is going to be amazing. It's like kickstart running. But no, it started very slow. And I'm growing to appreciate the beginning. I'll have to revisit that.
Is it super dramatic? Is it like melodramatic?
I wouldn't think so. No, it's somber because it's very much like her life, and she's passing by everyone else because she is immortal. So like all of her companions are passing away. The dwarf is getting older, but he's living longer. But it plays a lot into that. And I'm not sure how it's complicated because I am now 6, 7, 8 episodes in, and we are diving into the meat of the story. We're meeting these demons who are coming along, and I like how they're playing with it very much of the sense of how manipulative demons can be. And she's coming along in the sense of not wanting to get in the spotlight of things. Like, she doesn't like to be known as one of the heroes that saved the world, whatever. It's a very interesting concept, but like it hit this beginning of this arc, and I was like, oh dang. Like, now I'm into this. Like, the action's great. The characters are really great. They're introducing for fighting and building this new party. But it's kind of weird how it begins at the end, in the sense of like the end of that journey, and we're losing all these party members. And I'm like, this is weird. She goes and kind of is reluctant to pick up this chick and meeting her friend. So it's like I said, it's a very slow burn, but I'm very, very interested where we're in it now. I'm like, I finished episode. I'm like, dang it, I got to go do something else or I got to go to work. I got to go to bed, but I want to keep watching is what I mean.
You got to do other stuff.
That's interesting because I always say on our anime podcast that there's like 2 types of anime fans. There's the ones that love action and like Dragon Ball Z and stuff like that, and then there's the group that loves drama, like melodramatic, just like they want to cry, they want to like just
they want to cry,
they want to be babies. I'm gonna say they
want
to be
babies. And Solo Leveling.
And when I first heard about Frieren, I heard that part where she's like, oh, her team is dying, or she's outliving her team and stuff like that. I was like, oh god, it's gonna be one of those. It's just gonna be crying and stuff like that. But you're saying there's like demons and like fighting now, so
yeah, it's very cool. And it's not even, I wouldn't even call it melodramatic in the beginning. It's just like directionless is all it is. And I think it's very intentional now that I'm getting to understand, because there's a lot of flashbacks that are happening throughout it. There's very much like, we're going to go back to this time, whenever they first met her hero that she was with. That's like, he's like the most famous person on the planet in this story. And so there's a lot of like slowly introducing things. Hattie's knocking stuff over because the ball landed the sink. And so, but it's slowly introducing all the characters and everything that's happened post first being introduced to them. And there was a scene today where I'm like, I wonder how that would have played if that had been the opening scene of the show. Because it's like her teacher, and she's saying, one day you will defeat the big baddie. but you realize at this point where she's like, I don't want to be known. I want to be under, and I don't know. It's a very interesting character difference in an elf, especially because she's an elf, like I said. But yeah, very much enjoying it. I like the action's very, very cool. The demons are very cool. I liked the kind of like undertone mystery of what they're trying to take over, because it's not like, oh, we're baddie demons. Like they're being very manipulative and very elegant in a weird sense. Like they remind me of vampires, what it reminds me of. But yeah, very cool show. Very cool show. Excited to finish it. So I guess I'm maybe a third through almost.
What does her elf eyes see?
Her elf eyes, I don't know. Her ears are like this big, so they can hear a lot. They're huge. But yeah, very cool show. Then we're gonna go to YouTube side, guys. You excited?
Oh, you never go there.
I know. So I am nearing. So I have 2 more drafts planned for the book that I'm writing, and so I'm at the point where I'm like, I need to know. Because I'm not good with grammar. I don't read a lot. I do a lot of audiobooks. So there's a lot of structure things I didn't understand that I'm starting to learn a lot more. I didn't know what M dashes were. Found that out this past week. And so there's a lot of stuff where I'm like, I need to learn a lot. So I dove deep into YouTube thing the past 2 weeks. Ended up spiraling onto Brandon Sanderson. He started his 2025 lecture series. So he's put a lot of his lectures online, but he's doing 2025 like day and date. They're coming up weekly as they're coming through. So very, very fascinating to hear that. But then also dove onto his podcast with Dan Wells, and they basically just take writing topics. That's where I got the where he said that one of his favorite bad movies is Cats, and that hurt me a lot.
Hurt a lot
because he wasn't joking. He genuinely enjoys Cats as a bad movie, and it hurt.
I don't understand what I guess YouTube is listening. I don't know, but literally when you texted me that, when I got onto YouTube, I watched like 9 hours worth of Brandon Sanderson like lectures.
Nice,
just like random, like nothing like sequential, nothing. It's just like randomly like there because he has a ton to say, and it's all interesting. Everything he talks about is interesting, even if it's like the most banal thing you can think about. It's still. The way he presents everything is so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very odd, but I think YouTube's listening to mine and yours conversation.
Well, it's also the fact that he's a very, very smart guy. Like he and I, as I'm going to throw myself in the category of writers. I've written a book, but it's not published. I'm not an actual writer, but us as writers are the absolute polar opposites. He's, his mindset is like, hey, write your first 5 books because they're going to be trash. Then you can start writing good stuff. And I'm like, I'm putting everything I have into this first one. So if it's bad, I'm gonna die on a shore and be depressed for the rest of my life. Yes, sir.
That's like when Paul Meany was doing his like song coach thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, just make 50 songs. Don't put too much into it. I'm like, I put everything into every song. What are you talking about?
But it's also in the sense of like he's very much like my idea in writing is, whoa, my computer just freaked out. Is like telling the stories I want to. Like I would still continue the job I do now and put everything into the stories I want to. Whereas he is a writer for a profession. He's a professional writer. He's a machine, like more so than any other writer I think on the planet. But his mindset is very business like, where mine is not at all. And so like it's very interesting because I've learned so much just from hearing him talk about how he approaches things and like and just. Yeah, that kind of business side of things. Because he started his own company and everything surrounding all of this and stuff. Very fascinating doing like in his podcast. They're like 20, 30 minutes where they'll take on a topic and he'll have sometimes guest people, but it's usually him and Dan Wells, who reminds me so much. If you know Jay's 2 Cents on YouTube, they've got to be brothers. There's no way. They're like identical people. They're twins. I don't know. Same personality and everything. But he's signing, like he's doing his signature on just stacks and stacks. So I was like, oh, maybe this is just this episode. Now it's like, no, he started that so he would do that and have something to do in it while he's signing them. Like, dear Lord. So
I also liked how he talked about the difficulties of writing something so long, because books are basically priced pretty much the same.
Yeah,
like you have an epic, and like it's going to be about $20-ish for a hardback. Well, if you buy The Way of Kings, which is like 1,300 pages. It's going to be the same as like another book that is 400 pages. And so the fact that the publisher puts in that much time and effort to publish something he's like, I'm totally spoiled. My name means something now. So when I put something out, it's basically going to sell. He's just like, I'm not bragging. That's just how he
Yeah,
is.
it's just how it is.
But a lot of first time writers who have something that expansive can't afford to do it. The publisher won't risk it. So it hinders a lot of these great ideas from going out to the public because the publisher just doesn't want to take a risk on a 1,300 page book that is going to be the same as a 400 page book. Does he breaks down like book economics really well, and it's fascinating. It's weird, but so it's a rabbit hole I didn't know there was. So.
Yeah. So there's that. There's another chick called Abby Emmons. If you ever heard of her, she does a YouTube like just all about publishing. She kind of started her YouTube channel as she wrote her first book, went through the process, and then she gives all these tips. So there's a lot of things of like words I need to take out, like filler words and all that stuff like that. But anyway, a lot of stuff I'm learning from there. But Brandon Sanderson with that the separate thing of like I am what people call a pantser, where I literally started from the beginning and wrote to the end of the book. I didn't outline or anything. Where he is like I outline everything, I do all the stuff, I plan everything out. Although I feel like his books are as big as they are because he doesn't, like he even said, he's like, I hate revising. I hate it. And I'm like, and that's like where I feel like I'm thriving is like, I got the whole, and he said that's a very popular thing with people who discovery writers is a more, I feel like appealing way to say it rather than pantsers. But he's like, they, you know, their work is in the revisions, which is actually what I'm enjoying, where his work is in the outline and planning of that. But I feel like his books could be a lot smaller if he didn't revise more. But after all of that, I started listening to, so he did a podcast with a guy, and I've drawn a blank on the name. Gosh darn it. Anyway, they both did a podcast on theirs recently. And I guess Brandon Sanderson was inspired by the movie Your Name and Final Fantasy X and wrote a book called Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. So this is my first Brandon Sanderson book I've ever read or listened to. I have 5 hours left. It's basically the story of Yumi is they don't give it flat out, but seemingly like some sort of Asian culture, spiritual communicator. I don't know how to put that way, but she basically goes through rituals and brings spirits to help the communities in her area. So it's very like, you know, old, like, I don't know if you want to call it medieval time, but before, you know, technology and everything like that. Whereas the Nightmare Painter is in this futuristic where like we have like technology. It's in the cosmos in his world apparently. So I don't know if the Cosmere. There you go.
Cosmere.
I don't know if the technologies are what is actually in their other world, but it's basically like modern world stuff. And it's basically Alex is basically the same idea of Dementors and Harry Potter, where he has to paint these dark shadow demon things into a light that makes them less threatening, and then it disperses them, whatever. But anyway, so where the Your Name part comes in is they start appearing in each other's lives. They'll fall asleep in their world, and then they take over the other person's body, where the other person is a spirit next to them. So they have to like coach them through their lives and all the stuff they're doing. Very interesting concept and cool book. Though it is my critique with it would be the inconsistencies on tone, and like these characters are supposed to be like 19 and 20 years old, but there's like some extremely juvenile like scenes and stuff, like with this group of friends in the Nightmare Painter's world, where it just gets like they're doing gym bro talk for like 5 minutes. It's very anime. It's very like you have these staple characters, and this guy's like, oh, it's like working on these muscles and blah blah, and like just like the description, I'm like, oh my god, this is
how's that lat spread, Michael?
Painful and cringy to me. But whatever's dealing with the actual story and like putting each other in each other's shoes, like where she's having to paint whereas he's having to do these rituals. Very interesting stuff, very cool stuff. So I like the characters, but it's just those like weird stuff.
That's
I feel
your
like
first
never read
Brandon
anything else.
Sanderson?
First one. Because it's short. No, it's 14 hours. So it's like that's compared to, you know, 30, 40 hours. I'm like, I'll take this and I'll start with that.
True.
But yeah, so it's diving into Brandon Sanderson. It's the first time ever this past week. But yeah.
So you do know, because I think we've talked about this before, like him and Brian, he was one of Brian.
Yeah,
Brian McKellen was one of his students.
Yeah. Then actually,
and
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I actually listened to Alex had me listen to a podcast with Brian McClellan, and let me look up his name really fast because I did not know who he was. But I'm gonna send this to you guys because it's an hour and 17 minutes, and it's playing right now. It was
well, let's do it right here.
Brian McClellan and Pierce Brown, who wrote Red something.
Red Rising.
Red Rising. There you go. I had never heard of him, but
pretty good.
Very. Brian McClellan starts it off by saying, like, well, Pierce is just basically going to psychoanalyze me this whole time because he gives like the post of what they talked about. And very interesting conversation. They go from talking about nerdy, what they do, video games, how they write, and then into just like digesting their childhood traumas and how they became who they are. And I was just like, it's like, who is this guy? Like, even at one point, he's like, oh, did you notice the tone of your voice just changed right there? It went up a little bit because you associate those times with happy times. And he's like, did it? It's just like, I was like, what is going on? Who is this man? It's like overwhelming, but amusing. It was a very good interview podcast. Whatever you want to call it.
I like, well, Brian McKellen actually did a podcast with Brandon Sanderson a while back.
I'm sure, yeah.
It was very interesting because they both have a very, I don't want to say similar style of humor, but they're both like very
intelligent dorks.
Yes, they're extremely intelligent, and I think they feel kind of like not ashamed, but the moment they start to like talk about something smart, they kind of like withdraw a bit. They're like, oh, am I being too much of a nerd right now? So it's kind of funny to see both of them talk because they both go like, oh. So.
But yes, that was my YouTube dives, was just a bunch of writing, learning, and then his lectures, which his new one's out today. So yesterday or today. So I need to watch his third one, but very good stuff. Very good stuff.
Yeah, spend 16 hours on Bionicle.
I did not. I was like, no. I could do Bionicle or I could learn more of this crap.
They have Bionicle novels.
That's yeah.
They do.
Yeah, there you go. Oh man.
All right, who's next? Who's left?
It's Thomas.
I guess me. I guess.
All right.
So I just started tax season and also school, so it's been kind of a hectic. It's been nuts. So I've been trying to just keep my brain occupied so I don't, overload and die. So, I watched a bunch of Star Trek, random stuff. Like I watched like Lower Decks, and then I watched like the last season of Voyager for some reason. The last season had, I don't know, because I don't know if you guys watched Voyager. I know you guys don't care for it.
I only watched episodes with Joseph and my dad, but I never watched it.
There's too many
about Voyager.
In the last few seasons. There's too many Seven and Doctor episodes.
Yeah,
this is too many.
Yeah.
Like I like the Doctor, but like, good Lord, like it's just too much. I wish there were more Neelix episodes because I find him kind of interesting. But I like the weird alien characters. I like Quark. Like he's fun.
Quark is cool.
I like Quark.
Quark is cool. But yeah, I watched like some Voyager, a few Deep Space Nine. I went through like half of season 4 of TNG, just trying to get some stuff in. But yeah, just a bunch of random Star Trek, and then I'm trying to think of what else I did here. I did watch the new Death Battle. I don't know if you guys have seen it. Kratos and Azura. I didn't even know they were still doing death battles. But I was like,
I didn't know either.
That's kind of a cool, like, what do you call it? Well,
I can't believe there's still battles to be had. Like,
yeah,
been going for years.
What is left?
I thought they would have gone under because of Rooster Teeth, but apparently not. So, and then I've just been playing Warzone because the guys were on playing with my cousins, and but there was somebody that came out with a video I was very interested in seeing because he has not released a worthwhile video in a while. H3H3 came out with a video.
If you say boogie, I swear.
H3H3 came out with a video about Hassan Piker, and it is a very interesting video. And then one of my YouTubers, his name's Nuxor. He's a bit of a meme poster, but I like his sense of humor. He's
friends with Gundam, isn't he?
Yeah, him and Gundam are friends.
We can't roll over that. Is this like a play on like Knuckles and Dinosaur? Nuxor? Like what? Or Nuxor?
Yeah.
Like you're hitting something, you're sore from hitting your knuckles?
Well, it's not Knuckles, it's Nux. And Nux is his name.
Nuxor.
He's like a VTuber.
Yeah, he's
I guess it would be
basically
Nuxor if we were going dinosaurs.
Yeah, he's basically a VTuber, but he does a lot of like commentary stuff. He's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, him and Gundam are friends, which poor Gundam, like the man.
That man is as tired as I am. Like,
like that poor man. I'm sorry. Like
he's hilarious too.
Oh my god, his Twitter is some of the funniest unhinged stuff I've ever seen in my life. But H3H3 did a video about Hassan Piker, and part of me like is glad that Ethan got out of the influence of Hassan Piker, but also part of me is just like, how were you quote unquote, because he was friends with this guy for so long, and you just couldn't understand? Was it because he's a liberal too? But just the vitriol and the hate and just the absolute disgusting outlook on life that this dude has. Like he fully endorses killing of people, and it's just nuts. Like it is absolutely nuts. And I'm just like, dude, because he was like, it's like, yeah, my friendship I think was at an end. I'm just like, I think there might have been some warning signs along the way, and it's just. And that's part of why I like Nux too, because he's Jewish too. He's like, honestly, like I would be happy to have a political podcast with Ethan Klein. We call it the Jewcast and be the greatest. Like when the last dreidel drops, that's when it's just. I don't know. It was very. Both.
I think it was Ethan overcompensating because back in the day he was seen as conservative because he was always going after like.
Woke crap,
yeah, because like he just overcompensated and then he got mixed in with Hassan. So
yeah, because like I remember doing an operator saying like a lot of cops used to watch H3H3 because it was just that kind of humor, like absurdist and kind of dark. But it just I think you're right. He just completely excuse me, overcompensated for wanting to be seen as anything right leaning, but. He still considers himself a liberal, which I'm like, I respect that. But Hassan's not a liberal. He is a radical left, like he's a terrorist. Like that dude is because he has like terrorists on his Twitch and stuff. And like
One Piece.
Yeah. He's like, oh yeah, he's a Houthi pirate. He's basically a One Piece character. And everybody's like, no, he takes people hostage. Sorry. But yeah, it's crazy. And like Nuxor was talking about, like, it's like, man, Donald Trump got banned from Twitch. And yet Hassan Piker, who has literal terrorists on his show and is endorsing terrorism, like he's like playing music videos for this guy. He's like, oh look, these people are really musically talented. He's like Hassan, I think this is a terrorist video, man. He's like, yeah, no, it's a terrorist video, but they're very musically talented. This is like,
Thomas, he can stream and he doesn't even need to be on stream, dude.
That's my god, I don't even know how good he is. That is an EFAP like black hole when they talk about it. It's like Hassan Piker is like, what's his streaming about? It's like, I don't know, what's on TV. That's pretty much what's on his stream.
Dude, when EFAP talks about him, it's so freaking funny. His Nuggie fountain.
The blue whale one is one of my absolute favorites. Like he's just like, does Hassan Piker actually think these AI generated images are real? He's like, I think he thinks these are real. So
called a whale of fish.
Yeah, whale of fish. Well, I even like I'm not an expert in the guy that they're reacting to is like a marine biologist. He's like, I am an expert, and he got that wrong. So, but yes, it was a very interesting video from H3H3. Is this part of it kind of came off as almost desperate, and I'm just like, dude, like we know you got burned by this, but you need to come a bit more clean, I think. So
and I do recommend that we'll never go back to the Prime H3HD because Prime H3HD was hilarious.
Like with Filthy Frank and JonTron, like I miss that stuff, like that really absurdist humor that wasn't afraid to not just offend people, but just be funny for being funny's sake. They didn't have to be edgy and go after somebody. It was too much. Because like Nuxer was talking about the comments that H3 had about Shapiro, and he's like, there's things that like he said to like fellow Jews. He's like, I find that as a Jew, like I would never say that about somebody else like me because that is like unforgivable at this point. He's like, it's like I still hold a grudge against this guy because he said something like that. He's like, if he's going to say something about like that about Ben Shapiro, he had no like qualms about saying that to another Jew. It's like that's not okay. And so it's very interesting. But I do recommend you watch it if you're interested. But I do also recommend the Nuxor one because he provides like a counterbalance because he calls Ethan on a lot of bullcrap. He's like, yeah, come on, man. Like you saw this coming like months ahead. Like don't try to say like, well, I just wasn't convinced yet. It's like, But anyway, that's about all I got. Like I said, ton of Star Trek, honestly, is what I watched. So
no Enterprise though. Someone hates Scott Bakula.
I'm okay with the first 2 seasons of Enterprise, but then we get into the temporal Cold War and it's a bit of a slog. I'm sorry, Scott. I love you, but the last 3 seasons are not that great.
Is he in your roof?
Maybe.
Scott Bakula, get out.
You know why?
Shoo Bakula.
It's been a long road, Jared, getting from there to here. But
Oi. All right.
But my time is finally near. And I will see that dream come alive at last. I will touch the sky. I can keep going if you want to, but it's fine.
Speaking of anime, so
because we did doing Joseph.
No, I don't know about that.
So he's waiting for a season 2.
We're watching Solo Leveling, so I decided, check out some other isekai, see what they've been doing. So I've been wanting to watch this one. It was called Reborn as a Vending Machine, and Now I Wonder the Dungeon. So, because I thought it'd be pretty funny. It was kind of disappointing. I watched 3 episodes. It wasn't funny enough for me. It was just, they take it way too seriously. He's like, okay, now I can allocate points to my, which I vend out, and I have heating vending stuff, and could take out soups and stuff like that. So it should have been funnier than it was, but I
was
probably
going to tell you that because I heard a lot of anime fans being like, it's actually pretty good as an isekai. So I was like, oh, it's probably not funny.
When they say it's actually pretty good, then you gotta.
Yeah, they take it way too seriously. And he's like, yeah. So then I switched over to Shangri-La Frontier.
Is that good?
This is pretty good. I've watched 4 episodes. So this is about a guy who plays VR games, and he loves to play the bad one. So he's like me with movies. I love to watch the bad show. Yeah. So then he's like, he kind of runs out of bad ones. So he's like, okay, I'll go into a good one and see what that's about. So it turns out that makes him really good at the game because he's like so good with dealing with glitches and stuff like that. So he like puts all his stats. He sells all his armor, the starting armor, and just puts all his stats into like speed and agility. So he's always naked. He's got like shorts on, but he's just like this naked guy, and he puts like a bird head on him. So he's just like this bird head guy running around, and he finally gets some clothes, but then he gets cursed by this like super high level thing that makes him not wear clothes. So now he's naked again. It's good. He loses fights. That's what I was looking for because we're watching Solo Leveling. That guy's never going to lose a fight, but this guy, he'll lose some fights.
He died. The first episode.
True.
I walked into the wrong part. What happened?
But yeah, I'm enjoying it, and I'll probably continue with it. As you know, a lot of us were sick with this terrible month-long sickness that was going around. And for me, part of it was I couldn't sleep. I was having trouble sleeping. So I'm like, I've heard about this not old, but I heard about this YouTube station that plays like old anime. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put some old anime on in, and then I'm gonna fall asleep, and then I'm gonna like end up on episode 6, wake up, watch that, and say, "Hey, that's pretty interesting." Fall asleep again, and then that's how I've been watching this anime. It's just like falling asleep, waking up, watching it, falling asleep, waking up.
Is it Retro Ronin?
No, so this one is called The Irresponsible Captain Taylor. So this is from, what is it, 93?
Well, I'm at the channel. Sorry.
No, it's Nozomi, I think it's called. Nozomi. So it's called Irresponsible Captain Taylor. And boy, do I wish I could play the OP for you guys, because this lady, man, she just yells at you about the show. She's just like, it's like, I don't know. She might go up there with the Pokemon singer for most passion in a song. So this show is pretty funny. It's kind of like Star Blazers, but a comedy. So it's just like this guy. He's like, you know what? I need food because I'm poor, so I'm going to join the Navy. I mean, I'm going to join the military. So that he does, and he gets put on like what they call it pension patrol. So he basically goes, he gives retired guys their pension, and he saves this admiral. And so they're like, okay, he saved this guy, so we got to make him a captain of a ship. So they give him like the worst ship in the fleet, and like all these. He's got like these Marines, and all they do is fight on the ship the whole time. And he's got like this lieutenant that like can't stand him and is trying to take his job the whole time. It's pretty funny. It's very 90s anime.
I was gonna say I love that era of anime,
Yeah,
the look
so
of it.
I was really looking for something like that. So I've been enjoying that while I've been sleeping. But I've probably been through it like 3 times, and I still haven't seen every
Like,
episode.
oh, now that makes sense because I got this bit.
And then I did watch some movies. So first one was called The Matador, which is with Pierce Brosnan and Greg Kinnear. So Brosnan plays kind of this sleazy hitman, and he's in Mexico, and someone's like, "Hey, happy birthday." His handler's like, "Hey, happy birthday." He's like, "Oh crap, I have like no friends." So this movie's pretty much about a hitman trying to make a friend, and with like Greg Kinnear. It's super silly. There is one really good sequence that I liked. It's when they're so he kind of offends Greg Kinnear when they first meet. So he's like, "Oh, I'll make it up to you. I'm going to take you to a bullfight. Let me show you a good time." So they go to a bullfight, and Greg Kinnear's like keeps asking, "What do you do for your job? You travel a lot and you have nice things. What do you do for a job?" And he finally gets it out of him that he's a hitman, and he doesn't really believe him at first, and he's like, "Okay, like if you're a hitman, show me how to do it. You get that guy." He just like points to a guy in the stadium. So Pierce Brosnan kind of like shows him what he would do, and they kind of go through it and like go up to the point where he like they like face the guy in the toilet. He's on the toilet, and they like open the door, and he's like, "Oh, we got you," and then they run away. So that was the good. That's the best part of the movie. The second half is just he kind of has second thoughts about. He kind of gets drained from his job. He doesn't want to do it anymore. So they kind of got to figure out how to keep him alive, because the company he works for, they like put a hit out on him since he's been doing bad at his job. So I didn't really enjoy the second part, but the first part was pretty funny. And then Liam Neeson had a movie, In the Land of Saints and Sinners. So this is where he was an Irish hitman. So we get Irish.
How do you still have Liam Neeson?
I don't know, man, but I do. This one came out last year, I think. It looks great. I mean, it's Ireland, so everything's green and it looks really nice. And but the story's pretty basic. He's a hitman, but he's going to retire. He wants to work on the garden, but then, he can't help himself. There's this girl that shows up with bruises, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta, why do you have bruises?" And it turns out that her uncle's with the IRA, or, so, he takes him out, but that's not okay because, they come looking for him and stuff like that. So it has a really bad explosion effect, and it looked really bad. And I was like, that is shocking. But the rest of it was fine. It's pretty much what you would expect from a Liam Neeson movie. So Hitman were kind of the theme for this week. The last movie I watched was called Le Samurai. It's a French movie. And this movie is about a hitman who. So they say, I was reading about this, and this movie has inspired like a lot of movies, including the one we watched. Was it last year? The Killer. Yeah, so it inspired that one, and it's very much like it, except for this guy does what I like. It doesn't talk the whole freaking time. There's like no talking for the first 10 minutes of this movie. But it's cool. It's stylish. It's a little old. There's like some parts where he'll shoot a guy and it's like bam or something like that. And it looks real funny like that. But it's a good story. It's basically they spent a little too much time on him running away from the cops. It feels like there's an hour of him just doing that. But it's basically, a hitman was on a job and then he messed up. And he got picked up by the cops, and so the company that hired him is kind of they're not too happy with him, so he's got to kind of figure out who they are, and he confronts them and stuff like that. Ends very French like, but yeah, that was pretty good.
So speaking of bad effects, can we talk about that trailer or teaser for Fantastic Four?
I haven't watched it.
I haven't seen it.
I was just waiting for the trailer. I was like, why watch teaser? I'm gonna get the trailer tomorrow.
It's just like kids running to a TV, right?
Well, not just. Have you listened to it?
Kids laughing.
It is that stock sound. It is that stock kids laughter from like yes. But the thing is, they use it like 3 times.
60s.
Yep.
It is like and like all the comments are like, can we talk about the sound editing for this? Like who thought this was a good idea? Because it is literally the same laughter played over and over and over again. It's like, and it's only like a 20-second teaser, but that's all you hear is that same stock laugh every single second. It's just like, what the hell? Whose idea was that?
Well, hopefully it's just in the teaser, not like the.
I hope it's throughout the movie.
The whole movie, just kids laughing.
Children everywhere.
Real fast.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention I watched 15 episodes of Blue Lock.
That's a lot of episodes.
That is a lot of episodes.
Yeah.
That 24 episodes first season.
And it's great.
I didn't want to like it as much as I did. It's pretty good.
It's so extreme.
There's some funny parts. There's some funny characters. It's just, I thought it was a co-ed soccer team, but there's some dudes there that are just beautiful. Just like, damn.
Just beautiful dudes.
Just beautiful dudes. But yeah, it's pretty good. So I heard some like kind of like not sad. How did you put it? Like not great news about the second season. How it dips in quality, just animation wise.
Oh shoot.
So after I'll probably check it out. Yeah,
it's so fun.
It's pretty fun.
It's pretty fun.
That part where he's training in that one room with the goalie, the cyber goalie or whatever.
I just love how they just like they give all their specialties for each of the characters. It just gets so outlandish. Like, what the heck's going on?
I was watching this. I was like, is this what Michael thinks when he plays soccer? Is this like what's going through his mind?
Like, oh, my striker points aren't high enough for this goal.
I can see the whole field at once.
I understand his emotions with his family as I take the ball. Oh man, so good.
Blue Lock.
Speaking of second season of Sandman, what do you think?
I'm excited.
Is it any good?
I hope so. They've had some time to work on it. I enjoyed the first one.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's weird.
I'm glad we're getting it.
True. I'm glad that we're getting a second chapter. I'm just wondering what they're I don't know. There's a lot to cut out because they said this is going to be the final season. It's just like, well, okay. There's a lot to get through. So
I'm ready for freaking One Piece season 2 on Netflix. This show had no right
One
to be as
Piece?
for a second, I was just like, I thought you were like,
I thought talking about the anime.
Yeah,
How
I'm
dare
like-
you?
No, the Netflix show. But that show has no right to be as good as this. That show is great. It's so
How many
good.
I still
episodes
need to
was the
watch
first
it.
one?
Do I?
How much episodes were the first one?
Like 8?
oh, that's great. Because, glad they can get 8 episodes in.
People love that first season, though.
Dude,
I've
it's
heard
so
a lot of
good.
people.
It's so like the production quality is great. The characters are amazing. It's so good.
Do you know they're doing a remake of the anime as the
Yes.
first anime is going?
Yes.
What?
Because they're redoing the animation. They're remaking the 1,000-episode show.
What's
again.
to improve? Like, there's
Animation's
It's-
horrible.
It's still no. I know. The thing is, though, is that you can't improve that style.
Would you watch it if it was solo leveling animation?
That's not my point. The character design
But that's my question.
terrible.
What if they just totally redid the characters?
It's just all just like serious, extreme, like Attack on Titan dark,
mean-
and like what the?
Maybe, but like just the art style itself.
I have
hurts.
an answer for you. No, because I've watched like 3 seasons of that show, and it's not. People say it's the best writing in anime. I don't understand those people. I'm like, I've seen 3 seasons. It sucked.
1,000 episodes is a lot, man. That's insane.
I watched a whole episode about red light, green light, and I still don't know
Yeah.
why they were doing that. And I don't even care about the context. I'm like, that's still a whole episode of red light, green light.
Yeah.
No.
What do we got left? We got Cobra Kai's coming up.
That's true.
Haven't
The
seen
end
a
of
second
Cobra
that
Kai.
show.
Not a second. I don't know if you would like it. I don't know.
I don't think I
I
would.
doubt he
You
wouldn't
think-
like it.
He might like the first season. He might really like. After that,
I probably would.
I-
I don't think I would think it bad, but I don't think it's what I'm looking for in the slightest.
Yeah, I feel like he would not like it at all.
I don't think he'd like. Maybe he's seen it. Spice and Wolf.
well, that's a good one.
I don't know what that is.
It's a lot of
Jared?
crying.
What do you think, Jared?
They're redoing
he
that one
might
too.
like it. Yeah, it's the first season's out already.
Mhm.
You
Might
might
like
enjoy it.
It's a serious anime. It's not.
It's a bit of it's a slow burn, it's a romance, and it's a lot about economics.
Yeah.
How enthralling.
Pretty good,
what-
actually.
The economics part is the most interesting part. I was like, oh,
Cool. I don't
What
know how
else do we
anime
got?
does that. Anime makes such mundane things so interesting. Like,
Yeah.
why am I
it
so
really
into
does.
like item stuffing at a grocery store? I don't know.
Yeah. March comes in like a lion, man. That's one of my favorites, and it's just a guy playing shogi. What was I going to say? Oh, what do we got left? We said Cobra Kai Strangers Things comes out this
Heck yeah,
year.
man.
oh, really?
Every episode is supposed to be like a movie.
Yeah, like they're all huge. Well, that's how the end of the season 4 was. They were all like an hour and a half, 2 hours, 2.5 hours. It's apparently
That's too
these-
much.
There's,
Yeah,
like,
that's too much.
there's 8 episodes left, and they're just going bananas.
That's a lot to ask of me. I've been watching you for like
Yeah.
But they're ending it. It's over.
It's over.
Can we just redo the second season? Because you
Yep.
know,
Yeah.
Can we just
everyone
bring
is
Barb
old.
back?
Barb.
Barb is the last villain.
Yeah, she's the last villain. What else we got? We got Spy Family in October. Any My Hero this year?
Yeah.
The last season.
Mhm.
My
Starts in
Hero,
August,
the
I think.
last season. Anything else, Jared, you can think of?
Still waiting on One Punch Man,
Kaiju number 8.
Kaiju number 8.
Cannot wait.
I am
Be so
blanking on the
good.
other ones, but there's more to come out.
Last of Us Part 2.
Last of Us Part 2.
Okay. Supposed to get another My Dress Up Darling this year, Jared.
That's true. It's been years.
This is true.
And I think Mashuko Tensei season 3 is coming out this year. So knock on wood.
I don't think we're getting any of the Bear this year.
No,
I haven't heard about it.
What?
Are we?
Really?
I don't know.
Did they say? Didn't they say they had a limited amount of seasons they were doing?
Yeah, I think so.
This season was supposed to be the last, I think.
Ooh.
So maybe it is.
I feel like they always are like, "Hey, this is coming in 2 months."
Yeah, it's out on Hulu.
Okay.
That did happen last season because it was like, oh, guess what? Bam,
No, Bear.
Bear.
Not Pam. I don't know.
Is it more Bleach this year? Isn't it supposed to?
Yeah, Core 4.
You guys talking about
Yeah.
One Piece, but there's like a billion Bleaches.
That's
You're
true.
all in
A
on
billion.
it.
There's not
There's
even
not a
close to.
billion.
Yeah, there's not a
But
billion.
Bleach
I don't know
has
anything about
style,
Bleach at
Mike.
all.
There is a-
Bleach
there is a-
has style.
There is a finite amount of episodes in Bleach.
I did see a clip on Crunchyroll's Instagram this week of a Bleach fight, and I was like, "Man, that looks dope."
Yeah.
I was
A
like, "That looks
literal-
dope."
Talk about dope.
A
man.
literal fashion designer wannabe makes
Yeah.
draws that
Yeah.
anime. So
It
It might
looked
not
dope.
be Shakespeare writing, but it's got music, it's got style, it's got the fights, and it's got Luna's face. All right. I think that's going to do it for this time, unless you guys could think of anything else coming out.
Nope.
All right. So, like, subscribe, and notify yourself for even more good stuff to come. And we will see you next time. Bye.